dear Aquarius, this is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for the month of June 2016. And so your rulers, Saturn is going to be in retrograde until the end of the month, and Uranus is going, my dog, look at him, his nose shame back there, he's just like, oh. And then Uranus in Aries is going to be from the 1st to the end of the month. So from the 1st until the end of the month, Saturn is going to square off with Jupiter, square off with Neptune, and square off with the North Node. So your ruler is going to be involved in a grand mutable cross. So you are going to feel like you need to make some changes. I think you need to realign with some of the what you idealize and you hope for the future. I think is very important in this energy. There is a reflective component to this, so I think that this is a cycle that you've been on for a very long time. I think for some of you, this is pulling you in the direction, like you're compelled to kind of relive something or attach to the past, but you're being compelled to move forward. There's a dualistic concept, the dualistic concept of this, because Venus is in Gemini and the Sun is in Gemini initially, that I think the extreme is that you're being compelled equally in two different directions. And I believe that I believe you need to break up with something, you know, in your head, the way that you think about it, the way that you idealize it, about it, the way that you, identify with it. I think that it is inevitably kind of like this sense of separation from the old sense of self, that past self, that karmic self, and this new taking your life into your own hands, you know, re-identifying yourself, being truly deeply authentic, and then attracting significant people, situations, opportunities, social circles, hopes, dreams, and wishes. You're going to attract something that supports that new sense of self. I deeply feel that this is a very deep division within you, most of all, when I talk about this. So from the 1st until the end of the month, Uranus in Aries is going to square off with Pluto. So here's where I think that division lies. We've got this, I feel like there's past programming. I feel like there was some sort of thing that you idealized, or some sort of structure, or something you were trying to build your life on that doesn't really support that new sense of self. And you have to break free from it. You have to liberate yourself. You have to free yourself from this situation. You have to free your mindsets. You have to liberate your mind, okay? You have to move forth and re-identify. And that's very hard for a fixed energy source for you. When you want to fixate on something, you want to fixate on this source of pleasure, or this hope, or this desire, or maybe there was a pleasurable time that you're really fixating on and you don't want to let go of it, but it's not who you are right now, and it won't be who you are moving forward. I can guarantee you. This is a very, very expansive time of growth and maturity for you. I think that you are going to want to be understood at a compelling rate in this energy. This is a desire to be understood. You need to understand the past. I think there is a definite pull to understand something significant that happened in your past. I mean, you have to understand it. There has to be some rational and logical reason why you went through in the past, and you are going to spend some time in deep thought deciphering that. I think from the 1st into the 12th, Saturn in Sagittarius is going to be opposing Venus, and it's going to be opposing the Sun. It will be anywhere from the 10th to the 12th. And this is about taking a risk, moving away from a more hopeful mindset. You know, you've got to break free. The pleasure is in the right now, not in the past. And the opposition is learn from the past. but break free and enjoy yourself in the present, in the day-to-day life, in your day-to-day mindsets. And that involves some risk for you, I think, mentally. I think from the 24th until the 29th, Saturn in Sagittarius is going to quincunx Venus. Ooh, this is a deep time for you. It's a very, I think, intense time because you're feeling feelings that come on a very deep level. It has to do with a past situation. It has to do with, I think you're feeling very intuitively guided to take a look at where you are emotionally turbulent, where there is no consistency, where there is no control, and it's not going to make you feel great. The good thing about it is it's only about 5 days, so I think that that's okay. From the 7th to the 20th, Uranus in Aries is going to sextile the sun, and from the 7th through the 17th, Uranus in Aries is going to sextile Venus. So come on, guys, this is about feeling good. This is about pleasure. This is about abundance. I think both emotionally and in some of your significant new relationships, there's something that you deeply desire. If you desire something, you could get it out of those initial relationships, those new relationships that you're starting. I also believe that it can be out of the relationships that you have with your closest and immediate family, like your siblings. But there is, I think that you feel good. You feel optimistic. There's hope. There's just this very, enthusiastic. I feel very enthusiastic when I feel this energy. I feel that it's very liberating. I feel like on a very superficial level, it's like you're being understood. There's not a lot of depth at this moment, but what I feel like is it's very energizing. It's like you're just understood and you want to keep going. Like you have this enthusiastic approach to communicating. It's like there is somebody deeply in your life, and I believe that this has to do with a new energy in your life. I feel like, it's somebody that's just really revving you up and exciting you. From the 7th to the end of the month, Uranus in Aries is then going to quincunx Mars in Scorpio. Add some intensity. I believe what this is doing is this is giving you a little bit of hopeful, yummy flavor to the energy. And it's really, but there's this reflective cycle that's really overbearing, kind of heavy in this energy at times. And it's a very dualistic, bouncy back and forth month. You can feel very good one minute and very compelled to be past-based, and then you could be very compelled to be future-based, and it's a bounce back and forth. It's very extreme. That's why Saturn is being pulled in this mutable grand cross. It's because it's to get you to explore something new. At the same time, you still get to cling to that rigid mindset that you're such a fan of doing. I do want to point out that on that new moon, Uranus in Aries is going to square off with Pluto. So to me, what this suggests is that I think maybe a family member or somebody very significant in your life, like somebody you feel very close to, it could be an authority figure. It could be somebody that you respect highly. It could be like a sibling. They could have a difficult conversation with you that makes you realize that the past is no longer something to cling to. And the communication is going to be difficult. It's not going to be, because you're involved in this mutable grand cross, and there's something that's difficult about it. And you want to hear something. You want people to understand you, and you're not being understood at the level, because what you're communicating about, you really feel compelled to be understood. But I believe that everybody feels kind of over that past situation already. And so they're asking you to change it. You've got all of this beautiful, hopeful energy before you, and you can easily ascend with it. But there is something compelling you to kind of hold on to something that no longer serves you. I think if you comply in that energy, you'll kind of get something that you deeply identify with, but I don't, or you used to identify with. What this is trying to do is to get you to move forward. And there's some very good advice, I think, that you're being given, but you're not receiving it well. Definitely. From the 7th to the 10th, we have Uranus and Aries. It's going to be sextiling the Sun, sextiling Venus, and having that really difficult conversation with Mars. So this is to get you to kind of reroute yourself, reroute your thoughts, kind of move you away from that past situation and kind of compel you to take some risks and really go towards something that brings you a lot of stimulation and a lot of pleasure. And it's a very adaptable approach. Like you're trying to adapt to something. It's trying to encourage adaptability. Problem is that some of you are going to want to be rigid, and it's a very intense feeling to, move away from something. You're not willing to let it go. So there's this pull to the past, and it's really keeping you stuck in a direction that I don't feel is going to serve you moving forward. But you're compelled to hold on to this path that no longer serves you. So then, from the 12th into the 16th, your ruler, because it's not involved in that mutable T-square, that mutable grand cross falls into a T-square. And it's at the very top of a T-square, and what it's trying to get you to do is value. It may be a direct approach, and then it may try an indirect approach. It may try a direct approach, and then it may try that reflective approach. It's trying to get you to look at the duality of the situation, or the good things that come out of a past cycle that no longer serves you. Like you have to have that duality in your mindset, and you have to make changes accordingly. Even if some of these revelations are that maybe you didn't do something that was quite as stimulating or quite as ideal. I believe that for some of you, I believe that if you could just take a look at it from a couple different perspectives, you might be able to find the pearl that is necessary to move away from a karmic cycle that no longer serves you. Understand that you still have that squaring off with Pluto, so you're resistant. This is everything to do with an insecurity or a fear. And this is a deep one. This isn't one that I think that you even know exists. It's a demon that I think you faced off and on, but I don't think it's a demon that you really have worked through and worked, and empowered yourself against. From the 17th through the 24th, there is a mutable grand cross. It is, then after this mutable grand cross, it's going to form into the second mutable, this is the second mutable grand cross. So for you, this is when energy starts to build again. And I believe it intensifies. I believe that the clarity intensifies, and the change that is necessary is magnified in this energy. I believe that you understand on a very deep internal level that you need to make a change, but I think there's some resistance. There's some fear. Some of you just resist whatever you're being guided to do because you can. Because you like to test situations. You like to test people. You like to push things to extremes. Some of you are very unhealthy in those mindsets. Some of you don't understand that what you're really honestly put on this earth is just to compel people to move forward. But what you really do is you push people to extremes to get them to move forward. So for some of you, that could be the pull. From the 20th through the 24th, Uranus and Aries is going to be involved in that very, very difficult conversation. I think this is to get you to be more authentic. What you want to do is comply and get your way. But I think what you're trying to do is understand that you freaking probably were never that creature that you are clinging to, like you were being guided to make a bigger choice, something you were kind of a little bit more destined. The people that you're going to attract, the relationships you're going to attract, the soulmates that you were going to attract was something more destined. Some of you may experience, something in your foundation may dissolve. Some situations in your jobs may drastically change, or your foundation may drastically change. And it's going to be an intense moment for sure, but it's also going to drastically change the way that your life path destiny is going. Then on the 20th, we have that full moon that's going to be in Sagittarius. It is the second full moon. So we've had this full moon in Sagittarius in May, and then in June, we have this secondary full moon. And for you, this is to help you understand that moving forward and venturing into a mindset really opens up opportunity, really opens up the future, really opens up your hopes, your dreams, and your wishes, and your social circles as well. But you have to habitually change the mindsets, and you have to choose in the midst of these emotional situations. So I think what is difficult about this energy is that you have Saturn opposing Mercury in Gemini. New situations and new things, when you're in a past reflective cycle, feel uncomfortable. Feel like you're taking too big of a risk. It doesn't feel very rational and logical. You need to resolve some situations, and I believe that you're caught in making these changes, that you need to move forward, that you're resisting. Like, this is you're very resistant in this energy, I feel. You're being intuitively guided away from these past cycles and toward a new open mindset, but you're resisting something and it's what you're resisting is persisting at this point. You know, Uranus is trining this full moon in Sagittarius. So this cumulative ending, I feel, is going to just happen. You're not going to have a lot of control in what's going to happen. And believe me, this is for the better. This will bring a harmonious flow of energy, whether you want it to or not. And you can go ahead and try to resist it. But I believe that inevitably what it's going to do is cause you a lot of psychological turmoil. I believe that it's going to cause you to kind of concentrate on the wrong life path. But if that's what you have to do, so be it, because the universe understands that you're a very extreme, enlightened soul, and sometimes pushing you to the extremes is the only way that it gets through to you. So if you have to go through something on a very internal psychological level, or for some reason the carpet just has to be pulled out from underneath you for you to understand that the direction to go is that way, sometimes that's what it takes for an Aquarian mindset. Like, they're very strict on like how they do things. It's very quirky. You guys are very quirky. It's a very indirect route to get you to see something. I mean, I know that I try to talk to one of my dearest friends, and the conversations can be difficult because inevitably she'll get to the point that I'm at, but I can't if I were just too direct about it, like, and if she didn't agree with it, it would be just a shut off, and then it would be like a defensive argument. Whereas she'll inevitably get there anyway. You know, it's just that I kind of have to, what I've learned to do with Aquarian is you throw stuff out there and you let them sit with it, and you let them analyze it, and you let them debate about it, and you let it elevate them. You plant a seed with an Aquarian, but you don't change an Aquarian mindset. They do whatever the frick they want. Like, and you cannot predict their responses, and you shouldn't even try. What you should just do is give them the pearls of wisdom that you see, and if they adapt to it, okay. If they don't, they'll figure it out. Like, they're very enlightened beings, and they don't need too much guidance because they're very intellectual, and they're very reflective, and they're very caring, and they're very loving, and they genuinely want to move forward at all times. So if you throw it out there, they'll eventually figure it out. That's the way to go. You don't have to do a lot of. So if somebody who loves an Aquarian is trying to push them into something, I would advise doing against that. What you really need to do is to stimulate them and intrigue them, but don't push them. They're just going to freaking resist like a mother effer, and you are going to get nowhere this month with them. Anyhow, guys, thank you so much for watching Annette's Astrology Corner, and I look forward to talking to you guys again next month.